Listen closely because there is one simple question echoing around the NBA right now that tells you exactly how far the Los Angeles Lakers have come with Luka Doncic, and the answer to that question might shock people who still think this franchise is stuck in the past. This is Lakers News Fan Report. I'm here with you one-on-one like always, talking directly to you, not selling fantasy, but breaking down what's really happening with our team with context, responsibility, and that emotional weight only those who live purple and gold every day can understand. And tonight we're going to walk through a scenario that feels like it came straight out of a front office war room. Luka Doncic on one side of the table, Anthony Davis and Cooper Flagg on the other, and the Los Angeles Lakers forced to decide what kind of franchise they want to be for the next decade. I'm not revealing my answer yet, and you don't need to rush to yours either. First, stay with me, because to understand why this discussion even exists, we have to revisit how we got here, what Luka has become in this jersey, and why this isn't just another hot take bouncing around social media. 9 months ago, when the trade went down and Dallas sent Luka to Los Angeles for Anthony Davis, the league froze. You remember the reactions, people calling it disrespectful to a champion, reckless from the front office, too much offensive talent, not enough defense, the usual "it won't work in the playoffs" chorus. At the same time, you had a 26-year-old generational playmaker sitting there wondering how the franchise he thought he'd retire with had just cashed him in. Then came that first return to Dallas in April, the tribute video, the tears on the bench, the silence between possessions where you could feel how personal it all was. That wasn't drama for cameras. That was a superstar publicly processing betrayal. That's the emotional starting point of this story. And that's exactly why what happened next in Los Angeles matters so much. Instead of sulking, Luka went to work. He reshaped his body, came into camp lighter, stronger, with conditioning that finally matched the volume of responsibility on his shoulders. On the floor, he took that step everyone was waiting for. More control, less wasted motion, smarter reads against doubles, more discipline on defense, real leadership with his voice and his body language. The box score is ridiculous, around 40 points, 11 rebounds, 9 assists, close to 2 steals, but the impact goes beyond numbers. He dictates tempo, he bends the court, he punishes every mismatch, he hits Reeves, Hachimura, necked, the shooter's in rhythm, he hunts switches in the post when the jumper isn't there, and he still has enough left late in games to close, which was always the fear when he was overloaded in Dallas. The Lakers start 7-2, playing poised late in tight games, looking like a team that finally has an offensive identity that doesn't depend on hoping someone gets hot. That's Luka. That's what a true system player looks like. You watch him and you feel something new for this franchise. Stability. And it's not just vibes. Under the current CBA, you simply cannot afford to be wrong at the top of your cap sheet. You either have a true number one who lifts everyone, or you're stuck in the middle paying max money for maybe players. For the first time since peak LeBron and AD, and realistically, for the first time in this new era, the Lakers have a perimeter superstar in his prime who is both box office and basketball substance, capable of anchoring a top offense for years. That's the backdrop. That's why a single line on national TV hit so hard. In the middle of this insane start, an analyst framed it like this. Imagine Nico Harrison in Dallas picks up the phone and says, "Rob, let's fix this. I'll give you Anthony Davis and Cooper Flagg for Luka Doncic. Clean, straight, no pick salad, no games. What do you do?" The answer given on air was quick and absolute. You say no. No hesitation, no counter, no curiosity. And that's when it exploded. Because we're not talking about a random package. We're talking about Anthony Davis, who delivered a title in this building, who at his best is the most complete defensive anchor in the league, and Cooper Flagg, a teenager many project as a future franchise cornerstone. 2 for 1. Length, defense, future, highlight clips from day one. Old school thinking tells you that you have to think about that kind of offer, but this is where I slow down, breathe, and talk to you like someone who respects your intelligence as a fan. When you strip away nostalgia and name recognition and really look at what wins in this NBA, the picture changes. Anthony Davis remains special, but his availability record is what it is. Over an 82-game marathon and deep playoff runs, you're constantly managing minutes, matchups, soreness, risk. Under the harsher tax environment, tying your fate to an aging, physically battered big man is a massive gamble. Cooper Flagg might become an all-star, maybe more, but that's projection. You don't know how his body holds up, how he responds to pressure, how quickly he can be your second best player on a contending team. Meanwhile, Luka is not theory. Luka in a Lakers jersey is present tense reality. You see him reading traps like a veteran quarterback, using his strength to carve space, calling for inverted pick and rolls with guard screening, talking on defense, rotating earlier, boxing out, taking responsibility. You see him unlocking Reeves as a secondary creator instead of overloading him, demanding better spacing, forcing the front office to value shooting and versatility over nostalgia signings. You see him lifting role players' value, which matters when you need flexible contracts to navigate trades down the road. You cannot overstate how rare it is to have the best player on the court most nights and know he's not even at his peak ceiling yet. And there's another layer, identity. For too long, the Lakers survived on the idea that a star would always come next. It worked often enough to become mythology. But Luka represents something more modern, a long-term offensive anchor you can grow with, not just rent for 3 seasons. With him, you can build continuity, habits, schemes, a culture that doesn't reset every time someone's contract runs out. Removing him to bring back Davis plus Flagg would be like reopening a wound you just healed, trading certainty for sentiment and speculation. You honor AD's legacy here by being honest about timelines. His peak, his body, his style all point to a different stage of his career than what Luka is entering. As for Flagg, he might end up great, but how many next big things have we seen fall short of what Luka is already today? From a front office perspective, you also have to factor how this affects your leverage. Keeping Luka and making clear you're not shopping him tells agents, stars, and the entire league that the Lakers know what they have and won't panic. It signals seriousness. Waffling, entertaining fantasy offers, publicly or privately, would send the opposite message. And then there's the emotional side, which in Los Angeles always counts. Fans have already started to attach their expectations, frustrations, and hopes to Luka. They see the work he put in after being hurt by Dallas. They see a player who could have shut down emotionally, but instead chose to own this stage. When a superstar shows that level of commitment and production this fast, you don't answer that by dangling him, even hypothetically. You answer it by building around him with conviction. That's why when I run through all of this carefully, statistics, contracts, health, age, mentality, direction, I land in the same place as that on-air answer, but with a lot more depth. You do not trade Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis and Cooper Flagg.
Not now. Not if you are serious about being a modern contender and not a nostalgia project. You respect AD, you wish Flagg success, but you understand that once you finally secure a generational on-ball engine entering his prime, your job is to simplify the equation, not complicate it. Now, I want to bring you directly into this decision because your view matters here. If that imaginary call came in and it was your choice, would you pull the trigger or would you hang up and double down on Luka? Think beyond names on the back of the jersey. Think about windows, about who controls fourth quarters, about which body you trust in May and June, about which player can be the face of this organization through the next era of LA basketball. Tell me in the comments, with arguments, not just emotion, whether you'd keep Luka or roll the dice on AD plus Flagg. I'm going to read, compare, and use what you say to fuel our next discussion, because this channel exists to turn you into part of the conversation, not just the audience. For me, after watching this start, After seeing how Luka responded to everything that happened in Dallas, how he embraced the weight of this jersey, how he already changed the way defenses game plan against us, the conclusion is clear. You keep the MVP-level, ball-dominant creator who gives you both present dominance and future security. You use his presence to attract the right veterans, to develop the right young pieces, to force the front office to avoid lazy, emotional moves. You don't look back. And that's the essence of today's story. The fact that a proposal involving Anthony Davis and Cooper Flagg can be dismissed with a straight face shows you that the gamble has turned into foundation. Luka Doncic isn't just a big name wearing purple and gold. He's the reason the Lakers can finally talk about sustainable contention instead of praying for the next miracle. Because when I look at the floor, possession by possession, I see a version of the Lakers that finally makes sense. A spread floor with Luka using high ball screens above the break, a roller who respects his angles, shooters flattening the weak side, Reeves attacking tilted defenses instead of trying to create from scratch, young wings learning how to cut and relocate next to one of the best passers of this generation. This style travels, it survives injuries, it punishes conservative schemes, it scales in the playoffs, and it aligns with where the league is going. Swap that for a structure built again around a fragile primary big and a teenager you'd need to protect early, and suddenly you're resetting spacing, roles, and playbook all over again. That is not just a talent trade-off, it's an identity reset. And I'm tired of identity resets. I want the Lakers to be the team that forces everyone else to adjust. With Luka, that's exactly what you demand. You tell opponents, solve this puzzle 4 times in 7 games, while you fine-tune the pieces around him. With an AD plus flag route, you're hoping both bodies hold up, that timelines sync, that your half-court offense doesn't stall when jumpers don't fall. Hope is not a plan. Luka is. I also want you to think about what message this sends to players around the league. Stars watch everything. They see which organizations stand by their bets, which ones panic, which ones treat their centerpiece like a franchise pillar instead of just a nameplate to flip when something shinier appears. By drawing a clear line around Luka, the Lakers tell the next wave of elite talent, this is a place where if you become our guy, we ride with you. That matters for future recruitment, for extensions, for locker room trust. Constantly flipping the script to chase the next big thing is how you end up being viewed as unstable. Committing to Luka is how you rebuild that aura of seriousness that once defined this organization at its best. Financially, the logic matches. The penalties for stacking massive contracts on uncertain health are brutal now. You burn flexibility, you lose tools to improve the middle of your roster, you trap yourself. With Luka as the clear number 1, you can be more surgical. Mid-tier deals that can move, specialists that fit, young players who grow in a defined ecosystem. You can take smart risks because your foundation is non-negotiable. That's textbook modern roster building. So when this hypothetical lands on my desk, I don't get caught up in the names. I zoom out and I see a front office test. Are you the Lakers who once hesitated and lost time trying to split eras? Or are you the Lakers who finally understand the value of committing to a singular vision at the right moment? Saying no to an AD and flag package for Luka is not disrespect, it's clarity. It's acknowledging the ring Davis helped bring while also recognizing that windows close, bodies age, and the league doesn't pause for feelings. It's acknowledging Flagg's ceiling while refusing to trade what is real for what is still just potential. It's above all trusting your eyes on what Luka has already turned this team into in less than a full season. That's why I stand firmly on this side, and that's why I want you with me in this evaluation, not as cheerleaders, but as informed fans. Go into the comments and tell me how you see it. If your goal is to see the Lakers lifting another banner in this next era, does any version of that vision start with sending away Luka Doncic after what he's shown in this system? Or does it start with protecting him, challenging the front office to keep surrounding him with length, defense, and shooting, and holding everyone to the standard his talent demands? For me, the roadmap is simple. Keep Luka, keep building smartly, stop flirting with ideas that belong more to talk shows than to serious planning, and use this entire discussion as a public confirmation that for once the Lakers are ahead of the narrative, not just chasing it. And if you're on the same page, or even if you completely disagree and would take that AD and flag package without blinking, make sure you stick around here because this is where we're going to keep unpacking every move, every rumor and every signal coming out of El Segundo with the same passion. Hit subscribe to Lakers News Fan Report. Turn on your notifications so you don't miss the next deep dive. Drop your like if this helped clarify the debate for you. Send this video to that friend who still thinks Luka is tradable, and stay close. Because as long as number 77 is running this offense in purple and gold, the real story in Los Angeles is not who we could trade him for, but how far we're willing to go to maximize the era we just opened.